Suppressors are supposed to keep you off the radar, make you harder to hear, which they usually do, but ironically, some guns, they've actually sounded way better with a suppressor than without. What is up, everybody? Jimmy or Chaos. Today, we're going to do a topic that was suggested by viewer Reed Legacy. And it's one I don't think we've ever done before on the channel, which is always exciting. Today, we're going to go over what I think are the 10 best sounding suppressed guns in Call of Duty history. So let me know which of these suppressed guns was your favorite. Drop a like, and let's get started. At number 10, the G3 in Modern Warfare Remastered. It was one of the most underrated guns in both Call of Duty 4 and MWR. I would even say it's one of the most underrated semi-auto rifles in COD history. Super high fire rate cap, no recoil, easy to pop somebody twice, drop them before moving on to your next target. If you were running this gun, you were most likely running it with a red dot sight, but if you were using it in Modern Warfare Remastered, you probably had a suppressor on it. That firing sound is probably engraved in your brain. The suppressed G3 in Modern Warfare Remastered sounds like it was ripped out of a James Bond movie. This is the kind of firing sound you would expect to hear from a trained assassin dropping a high-value target, and you got it every single time you pulled the trigger of this rifle. Super underrated gun. Absolutely awesome firing sound. If you were using it suppressed, even though hardly anybody was using that way, you know. Let's take a listen.
UAV recon. Airstrike standing by. Helicopter support standing by.
At number 9 today, the Odin in Modern Warfare 2019. One of the beefiest guns throughout Call of Duty history. It's absolutely huge for an assault rifle, fires super slow, hits like a Mack truck, and it's loud. Also has a unique attachment called the Colossus Suppressor. And when you use it, it sounds really cool. I mean, you were attaching this giant suppressor to a giant gun, so naturally the sound was going to be pretty thunderous, but it almost sounded like the suppressor was struggling to keep the sound in, which is actually kind of awesome. The gun was never that popular in either Modern Warfare or Warzone, but I know it had a pretty passionate fan club, and I'll admit, even I didn't get to use it much. I always thought the sound design was pretty epic. It's hard to make a suppressed gun sound this thick, but Infinity Ward nailed it. Let's take a listen.
Throwing grenade. We're halfway there. Keep fighting. We've got a UAV.
At number 8, the AK-47 in Black Ops. I feel like I bring this gun up every single time I can because of its recoil pattern, but can you blame me? It's one of the most satisfying guns in COD history to use because of the vertical kick that would pop you straight up to somebody's head and finish them off with a final headshot. But another reason why I love the Black Ops 1 AK was the suppressed firing sound. A lot of the suppressed gun sounds in Black Ops, well, they sound similar to one another. But the AK-47's firing sound mixed with a little tip-taps of the bullet cases falling on the floor was super satisfying. Despite being a suppressed weapon, the AK still sounded pretty chunky when you fired it. All those sound effects of the suppressed AK came together to make it this beautiful, nostalgic little soup. Firing sound, the bullet cases, the Black Ops 1 hit marker sound, it was perfect. Just listen.
UAV standing by. Enemy care package inbound. Dogs waiting for your mark.
At number 7, the AX-50 in Modern Warfare 2019. It was a weird weapon because it wasn't as good at quick scoping or aggressive sniping as the CAR, but it also wasn't as good at slow-paced traditional sniping as the HDR. It was meant to be that middle ground between the two extremes, but it didn't really fit its role well enough to be super popular in a pick for Modern Warfare or Warzone. But don't let that fool you into thinking it wasn't a cool gun, because not only did it look awesome, it sounded great, especially if you threw a suppressor on it. The AX-50 weirdly sounded a bit louder with a suppressor than it did without one, but the big thud sound it had when you pulled the trigger was pretty awesome. It was almost enough to make you use the sniper over the other ones. I'm not trying to say the AX was a bad sniper, because obviously it was viable, but I think it sounded absolutely awesome with a suppressor regardless of whether or not you liked using it. If you haven't heard it, here you go. At number 6 today, the M27 in Black Ops 2. Now, BO2 was criticized a bit for having very similar sound effects for a lot of guns, and I admit, a lot of the suppressors in BO2 have recycled sound effects, but there was something about the M27's exact fire rate and suppressed pitch that made it stand out to me. I loved this gun. I did. I might be a little biased here, so I guess you could say this spot on the list is dedicated to all the Black Ops 2 suppressed gun sounds because they're admittedly very similar to one another, but for some reason, I think the M27 is the best representative of all of them. Sounds awesome, sounds equal parts stealthy and aggressive, fits perfectly with the sound design, the hit marker effect of Black Ops 2. Of all the suppressed guns in the game, I think this one hits me with the most nostalgia bells. I do. I'm giving it the spot. Listen to it. What do you think? Now we arrive at the top 5. The ACR 6.8 Modern Warfare the original. It was everywhere back in Modern Warfare 3. One of the most popular attachments for it was the suppressor. The suppressed ACR would make this cool thunk sound every time it fired, and since it was fully automatic, you were getting thunk, 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 thunk over and over. It sounded pretty cool. Plus, the hit marker sound effect in OG Modern Warfare 3 was super sharp, super high pitched, so it was this nice little contrast with the gun itself. The firing sound and the hit marker sound made this cool little two-piece band with each other while you're running around dropping Moabs and provoking angry yelling in people's crappy Xbox 360 mics, and that's what Call of Duty was back in those days. Take a listen. At number 4, the AK-47 in Modern Warfare 2019. I think this is the most entries in a single list that Modern Warfare 2019 has ever gotten for me. Now, I'm usually pretty quick to talk crap about this game, but I'm not going to deny the sound design was top-notch. So here's another gun from that game that I think has one of the best sounding suppressed guns in COD history. The AK-47 was one of the best representations of the gun in the entire franchise, and if you threw on the monolithic suppressor, it sounded really cool. This is another gun that somehow sounds even bigger and thicker with the suppressor than without, which is kind of counterintuitive when you think about it. In an arcade shooter like Call of Duty, though, I'm cool. As long as it keeps me off enemy radars, the suppressor can sound however it wants to. But the suppressed AK in Modern Warfare had to be one of the coolest sounding guns ever. It just sounded so chunky. It made it even more satisfying when you pop somebody in the head or drop them with 2 bullets. Now, the AK isn't usually seen as a stealthy weapon at all, so I'm not sure how many of you actually threw this on there, knew about the version, but if you did, you're probably nodding your head along with me right now. Let's listen to it one more time.
Reloading. Precision air.
At number 3 today, the Honey Badger and Ghost. You knew it was going to be here, you just didn't know where. One of the most popular guns in COD Ghost because of the integrated suppressor. You had the epic reload animation, the very competitive time to kill, that all paired nicely with the easy recoil pattern and the handling speeds. But along with all that, the cherry on the top was the Honey Badger sounded pretty awesome on top of all that, and a lot of people said it was the best sounding gun in the game. Little pitter-patter of the shots sounded super powerful. They stood out in the game like Ghost, where a lot of the guns sounded the same. This is another situation like the Black Ops AK, where it's not just the firing sound that made it great. It was the firing sound mixed with the hit marker sound, mixed with the general design of sound of Ghost. It was a satisfying sound. The game wasn't everyone's cup of tea, I get that. But we should all be in agreement how awesome this sounds.
Bravo secure.
At number 2 today, dear to my heart, the Galil from Black Ops. One of my all-time favorites. Very competitive time to kill. Pretty big default magazine. In fact, I think it was the biggest default magazine out of all the full autos guns in the game. Little fun fact, but a very popular way to run the Galil in Black Ops was simply with a suppressor. Partially because it was extremely strong, but also partially because it sounded really cool. When I talk about satisfying pitter-patter sounds, this is the best example of what I can come up with. It sounded thumpy and chunky, but it also sounded sleek and stealthy, and it mixed with this chunky Black Ops 1 hit marker sound. It was just a fun gun to listen to. You didn't have to be watching the screen. You could get plenty of satisfaction just looking away or turning off the screen, listening to the gameplay. It added to that satisfaction of using the suppressed Galil in the first place. I loved it. But you know what? There is one other suppressed gun from COD history that I think sounded even better. It was also in Black Ops 1. I'll give you a hint. It was not a pitter-patter kind of gun. Much more aggressive.
SR-71 ready for deployment. SR-71 online. Huey ready.
At number 1 today, the best sounding suppressed weapon in COD history is the AUG in Black Ops. The suppressed AUG sounds amazing in the game. Rifle fired at 900 rounds per minute. Was the main competitor to the FAMAS in terms of raw time to kill. A lot of people were running this thing with dual mag or maybe a reflex sight, but if you threw the suppressor on it, your speakers may have caught on fire with how awesome the sound effect was. You know the meme of the guys in the recording studio and the one guy just looks amazed at the other guy and asks him what he's doing, and that was it. That amazed guy is me. And the guy at the keyboard is Treyarch mixing the suppressed AUG sound effect. When you started blasting it into somebody, you just got those chunky hit marker sound effects on top of the gun sound effect. It was music to my ears. If you ask me, this is the best sounding suppressed weapon in COD history. You may disagree. You may think there was one I left off the list, which you can let me know what it is. But to me, this is it. Suppressed AUG, crank the volume on your headset. You'll see what I mean. Actually, I'm going to let you see what I mean right now. have a good day, and I will leave you with the AUG suppressed.
Dogs waiting on your go.